All right, so the first thing you got these the stud right here. That's where your bottom nut goes for your heat shield. It will come out the bottom, but this is a mixed job where some of it's from the top, some of it's from the bottom, but it looks like it should come out the bottom pretty easy. So I'll try to get you guys some short little videos here and there as we go. So this is the top view once you get the heat shield off. Again, there's a nut that goes on the stud. It's a 13 millimeter. So now we're going to work on getting the connections and the belt off, which the tensioner, it's kind of hard to see, but the tensioner is right there. All right, guys, so I got the plug out. I ended up using a flat blade. Sorry, guys, I'm climbing back on my bucket because I'm short. Anyway, use the flat blade right in here, lift it up, and it was able to come free. And then this is a 17 millimeter to get this nut off that holds your power cable on. So far I've used a 13 and a 17 millimeter. All right, I use the flat blade so I get access to the tensioner. And so now I'm going to stand on my little bucket right here and pull the belt off the alternator while I pull on that. All right, we're pulling the last bolt off. You'll need a deep well for these ones with the studs, so the real long socket. But right now I'm able, because of this bucket, I'm able to reach down and pull off the last nut. We already have everything disconnected over here. So now we got to finagle this thing out, which I'm going to need 2 hands for. Oh, sorry, I left the bolt in there. It should come right out then. That's the idea anyway. So there's two studs and 1 bolt that hold the alternator in. And there you have it, out with the old. All right, guys, here we got the old one and the new one. The one we're using is in fact a new GM product. If it'll zoom in here. But yeah, just to make sure all your connections are the same, always double check. You never know, things happen. You also, it's easier to finagle it out in between the rack and pinion and the subframe and the exhaust. It takes a little finagling, but it will eventually come out. And so now I get the joyous task of finagling it back in. So I'll keep you guys posted. So, helpful little tip for you guys, the little stud and plug for your electrical connections, finagle it around your CV shaft. Turn it around sideways and it'll literally snake right past all this. And then you just have to turn it around to get your stud and your plug facing back outward. And then you work it right onto the studs there. And so now we put the bolts back in, slap the belt on, put the connections on, rehook up the battery, and that's the name of that. All right, guys. We got all our connections back on, everything's snugged up. We're gonna put the belt on now, and then after that, we'll put the heat shield back on. I forgot about that. So we gotta put that heat shield back on too. Don't forget, don't go too tight on this little bolt right there. Don't go too tight on that. You could break that plumb off of there. Ask me how I know. Anyway, yeah, so here we go. Let's keep on rocking and get this thing back on the road. All right, guys, it's all back together. We got everything all snugged up. Battery's back on. I'm gonna show y'all how to do the voltmeter test too while we're at it, because nobody seems to know how to do this and it's crazy. 12.37 volts DC. Car's obviously not running. Keys in my hand. I'll show you guys what it should look like with a new alternator or a good one. Alright. Look at that. See how it's climbing? 13.5 means the alternator's good. 14 means the battery's low and it needs to charge. So the battery was showing a little bit low, but not much. And it's probably going to hang out at 13.5 volts, which is exactly what it should be with a healthy system. Now this car also has a brand new battery, because most people try to change the battery before having to do an alternator. But as you can see, it's pretty stable at 13.6, 13.7 volts DC. So there you go, guys. Hopefully this helps, because there wasn't much on YouTube University to begin with. So there's a 1.5 liter with a turbo. Still baby turbo. Anyway, this is a 2021 Chevy Equinox. So hopefully this helps, guys. Real quick, after leaving a run for a minute, it is going to 14.5 volts, which means it is trying to run the car and charge the battery. So the new alternator from GM/Rock Auto is working beautifully.